I want you to picture something. You've been watching real estate videos for 3 weeks straight. Notebook open, tabs stacked, a spreadsheet you made at midnight with strategy names, channel subscriptions, and a list of books someone in a Reddit thread told you to read. And you still don't feel ready to do anything. That's not the motivation problem. That's an information order problem. And most beginner real estate education is taught backwards. You get the tactics before you understand the strategy. You get the income screenshots before you understand the risk. The exciting stuff comes first. And the part that actually protects you either gets buried or skipped entirely. So in this video, we're gonna fix that. Before your first real estate deal, there are a handful of things you actually need to learn. Not everything, not a full curriculum, just the right things in the right order. If you're brand new to real estate investing, you've probably noticed that every decision looks urgent. One person says start with rentals, another says flip houses, someone else says wholesaling is the only play that doesn't require money down. Someone else has a $20,000, $50,000 coaching program that promises to hand you the whole map. You start collecting information, videos, podcasts, free guides, and after weeks of that, you still can't answer one simple question. What do I actually do first? That's not because you're not working hard enough. It's because most of what you're consuming is designed to sell you something, not to build your foundation in the right order. Here's the real goal at the beginning. It's not to become an expert, not to memorize every strategy. The goal is to become hard to fool by a bad deal, hard to fool by a convincing pitch, hard to fool by someone who shows you the outcome and hides the risk. If you build even a basic foundation first, you'll be in a better position than someone who's paid for an expensive course but still can't read a number. I'm the Insider, and I've built Seminar Insider for new real estate investors who want to understand the business before they hand over thousands of dollars to a coaching program or a seminar company. And I want to be clear, this channel isn't just about avoiding bad education. It's about learning real estate in the right order, because once you have the foundation, you make better decisions, you ask better questions, you avoid the mistakes that cost people years. So here's what you actually need before your first deal. The first thing is the strategy. Real estate is too broad to approach all at once. A rental property works completely differently than a flip. A flip is different from a wholesale deal. Each one has different cash requirements, different timelines, and different ways to lose money. Before you go any further, pick one strategy and stay with it long enough to actually understand how it works. Ask yourself, how does this strategy make money? Where does the profit come from? How much cash is usually required? What are the biggest ways it goes wrong? If you can't explain it in plain language, you don't understand it well enough to put money into it yet. The second thing is the math. This is where most beginners skip ahead too fast, and it's the most expensive skip that you can make. Real estate runs on language that sounds exciting: passive income, cash flow, off-market deals, but none of that matters if the numbers don't work. For a rental, you need to understand rent, mortgage payment, taxes, insurance, repairs, vacancies, property management, and what reserve you need to survive in a bad month. For a flip, you need after repair value, purchase price, repair costs, holding costs, selling costs, and your actual margin after everything. A property isn't a deal because it looks cheap. It isn't a deal because the seller is motivated. It becomes a deal when the numbers work, with room left over for things to go wrong. The third thing is risk. Beginners ask, how much can I make? Experienced investors ask, what can go wrong? Those are very different questions. And the second one is, what protects you? What if repairs come in higher than expected? What if it takes longer to sell? What if the tenant doesn't pay? What if the buyer backs out? A safe beginner deal has room for those things. A dangerous beginner deal only works if everything goes perfectly. In real estate, things rarely go perfectly. The fourth thing is your local market. What works in one city may not work 20 miles away. A house that looks cheap online may be cheap for a reason. A rental that looks good on paper may be in an area where tenants are hard to find. So before your first deal, pick one market and actually study it. Look at what properties sell for, how long they sit, what rents are realistic, which areas have weak demand or high vacancy. You don't need to become an expert, but you need to stop relying on generic advice, because your deal happens on real streets in a real neighborhood. The fifth thing is knowing who's at the table. A real estate deal isn't just you and a property. The title company handles photo transfer. The inspector finds property problems. The lender controls your financing. The contractor tells you what repairs actually cost. The property manager tells you what your rental actually looks like to run. When you know who does what, you ask better questions, and better questions keep you out of bad situations. Now the foundation: strategy, math, risk, market, and people. If you want help avoiding the pressure tactics that show up when beginners are just starting out, download the free Seminar Survival Guide. It'll help you ask better questions before you pay for a course, join a program, or sign anything. Now here's the insider breakdown. Here's what they showed. Most real estate content leads with the outcome: the check, the rental income, the before and after photos, the person who quit their job in 6 months. They show you a simple formula: find the deal, fund the deal, get paid. And the pitch is that it can be that clean. And sometimes it is, but showing you the result without showing you the path isn't education, it's the hook. Now what they leave out the reps, the practice deals that went nowhere, the repair estimates that came in 3 times higher than expected, the offers that got rejected 30 times before one closed. They leave out the learning curve, the months of confusion before the first deal, the times you get close and it falls apart because you didn't know what to ask. And they leave out what a bad deal actually looks like in the early stages, because bad deals don't announce themselves. They look like opportunities until the numbers don't add up. What they actually need to know: the first goal isn't to do the most impressive deal. Your first goal is to understand what makes a deal safe or unsafe. And you answer 6 questions. What strategy am I using? What numbers matter for the strategy? What risks can hurt me? What market am I working in? Who needs to be involved? What's my next responsible step? If you can answer those 6, you're building something real. Here's a simple path for the next 30 days. Pick one strategy, learn its terms, study the math, analyze 20 practice deals, look them up, run the numbers, decide whether they work. Study one local market, talk to 3 people who work around real estate: an agent, a lender, a contractor, a title rep. Write down every risk you see, then decide your next step. Before your first real estate deal, don't try to become an expert. Become clear. Clear on the strategy, clear on the numbers, clear on the risk, clear on your market, clear on the people involved, clear on what you're doing next. That foundation protects you from bad deals, bad advice, and education that's designed to sell rather than teach. Again, download the free Seminar Survival Guide. And when you're ready for a lower pressure way to go deeper on deal analysis, the vault is here. The next video in this playlist is the 3 numbers every beginner investor needs to know. The core numbers that tell you fast whether a deal deserves more attention or goes straight into the trash. Your first deal shouldn't be powered by hype. It should be powered by understanding.